After about 3 months after I broke my back, which was just a very simple car accident for anyone out there who ever drives over grids. I hit the grid at about 80 k's an hour. I fractured 3 vertebrae and herniated 4 discs. And it wasn't until about 12 months later I actually broke my hip as well when I fell down the stairs. So I was just starting to get on my feet. It took me 6 months. Unfortunately, after about 3, the money ran out, and I had to face facts. I definitely wasn't able to get out there and do shows. I couldn't walk. I could only walk for 10 minutes at a time after 3 to 4 months. So from there, we ended up living under a bridge.
Living under a bridge?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, it really sounds disastrous, but at the time, we had no option. We were living in a mining area. There were only 2 houses available in the mining area. So, and those houses went for rent for $2,500 a week. We were in a bidding war with the mining companies. So we went and saw the neighbourhood centre, and they said, go and live under the bridge. They gave us a tent. Well, mind you, my partner at the time, she was working 3 jobs. And I still had a full-time employment as well as the music side of things. I wasn't getting paid for it, still had the job. We found ourselves underneath the bridge at Emerald, and unfortunately, even though the neighbourhood centre says, yes, you can go and do this, at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, the council comes through and pushes everybody off the bank because it's against their council policies to allow you to stay there.
Wow.
And we were, look, underneath the bridge in there at Emerald, we were sharing that with probably around 50 people a night, and maybe more. Mostly all good people who were working and living out of the back of their cars in the mines up there. You know, there was it wasn't so poverty-stricken, but it definitely sent me on a trek into an area that I really didn't want to pursue, homelessness for about 18 months.
So prior to the accident and the 18 months before, what happened? What was your life like prior to all this? Okay.
I fairly well was unstoppable. I felt that way. I was sort of a bit of a Superman. I could take anything on. I'll go right back to the start. 3 years old, I started playing classical piano. At the age of 11, I was given the option to take on a placement at the Conservatorium of Music in Melbourne. Unfortunately, we were living in a trailer at the time, so at the back end in a pop's place. So instead of being able to do that, I picked up a guitar. And 11 years old, I joined my first band, which was called Fat Cattle. I was the youngest member of the band, so we had trouble getting gigs. Most of the other boys were in their 30s to 50s. So a lot of fond memories there. It was basically a pub rock band. Pardon me. I started writing songs about the age of 13. At the age of 16, I moved to Goondiwindi to take on an apprenticeship, apprentice television radio technician, which of course fell over because my music took over once again, and I joined a band with Richie Maroney and Steve Gorsica, Brendan, I can't remember his surname, called Midnight Curfew. And at the age of 16 we went out to Charleville, and we killed it. It was basically a punk rock band, and we went support for Midnight Oil out at Charleville, the fundraiser for the Charleville floods. From there we got picked up and ended up touring with both Midnight Oil. I did a little bit with Chisel and a bit with Roxas and a little bit with the Angels. So as a 16-year-old, we were living it, we were rocking it, we were having a ball. All this time I'm still writing country music, which was a really bizarre feeling. And also all through that time as well, I was doing and attending country music talent quests on the weekends, which I'd been doing since I was a tyke. About the age of 20, 21, I moved to the Sunshine Coast, and I took up a position as a keyboard player in a rock and roll band with that was called Cooper's Brew. Well, it really depended on where we played. Alan Cooper was the lead singer, amazing vocalist and amazing artist, which I'd seen him at the Curramundi pub when I was a teenager play. Very inspirational. I took up a position in his band, and when we played, most places was Cooper's Brew. When we played the golf club was Par 3. When we played the bowls clubs, it was Chunky Crab Chowder. When we played the boat club, I think it was the Flatheads. I can't remember. It was too long ago, but there's great members in the band. You know, we had Kamal's lead guitarist, and we had Normie Rose, drummer, and I had Brian James, who was a profound influence on me. He was actually about 72, and he was a sax player. Brian did time back in the 50s, man. He played with Jeannie Vincent, he played with Eddie Cochran, he saw the Beatles come to Australia. And he was Johnny O'Keefe's longest lasting member. So it was a real inspiration to actually spend some time with these cats. Side is where it starts. No skinny dip until it gets a dark 30. Keep it skinny in the water, yeah, please. Hot off the grill, straight to the plate.